on the Pan-African Daily TV on this Wednesday, on this special Wednesday. I call it a special Wednesday because, as you can see, today we have a queen on the show tonight. And as we're saying, it's a good thing for the queens to be coming out. And this one is it's a special case. So if you're joining, make sure you warm your seat. Make sure you hold your breath, catch up your breath, because today is going to be a fire show. It's going to be a fire show because I am so excited that all of us are coming on board to build the Africa that we want. Africans on the continent, Africans in the diaspora, Africans worldwide are connecting on the Pan-African Daily TV on every instance to tell their stories, to promote, to brand, to support one another, but of course to heal ourselves and to talk about our own challenges and how we can get solutions to them. But it's not only about the challenges that we have, but we just meet and share and enjoy ourselves together. So I want to start by giving a big shout out there to Maponga Joshua Marara III, who actually put me in contact with Queen Grace, who is sitting right here with us in the Pan-African Daily Studio. And we're going to share very incredible stories with you tonight. And yes, as you know, we are in the second day of the official launching of the Pan-African Daily TV website, as you can see rolling on our stream, AfroWorld.tv. AfroWorld.tv kicked off yesterday with a very interesting conversation. I want to thank all of those who signed in yesterday, watched that conversation, and the feedbacks were so incredible. I mean, I keep receiving messages. Naisha keeps pushing me messages up, and everyone was just like, that was so truthful. That was so good. All what the brother said yesterday, the need for us to have a media, just like the way the Marcus Garvey started. And what was so interesting about the show yesterday was the fundraising that we're talking about, building our own Pan-African Daily TV, a TV that works for us all Africans and connect all of us and connect all bloggers or journalists or reporters and news creators and content creators and managers. So yes, our journey, that's our focus, and that's our time to deliver whatever thing that we came here on this dimension to do. So why is this show of tonight very important? It is still in the context of the platforms that we are building. We have realized the need or the reason why we were so disconnected, or why we were not functioning as a people, was because of our disunity. Not only are we cut up from space and time and our works and even geographical regions. I mean, like we say, the people on the continent are Africans, and then the blacks in the diaspora belong to the different countries. Like I am sitting here and you say I'm a German. Crazy, right? She's sitting there and you say, oh, she's a Netherlander or a Hollander. Stupid. There are brothers out there or sisters say, oh, they are Americans, or they are Jamaicans, or they are Haitians or Brazilians or Venezuelans, but we are all uniting on the one motherland and one color that makes us Black people, melanated people, or device people, whatever you want to call us. Yes, colored, whatever. Yeah, so that's the unique thing that makes us Africans. And we decided, we say, no, we're not going to be European Africans. We're not going to be Holland Africans. We're not going to be African Americans or Jamaican Americans or Caribbean, UK, whatever. We are Africans. And as Africans, we have a common destiny. We come from a common continent, and we all are going back in one form or the other. Doesn't matter whether our flesh remains in the lands where we are, our spirit must go back to our ancestors. God was not stupid to make us Africans. God, the creator, the powers that be, was not stupid to make us Black people. If he made us that way, then we have a continent, we have ancestors, we have a God. We have a God that is the Almighty God, but that has positioned us like that. So it's very important for us to understand why we Africans are Africans, not from our geographical point of view, not from the countries where we hold passport to, but what is it that makes you an African? And so we'll be coming up with a lot of series and even seminars and trainings on how to even become an African again, particularly to those on in the diaspora, even those on the continent who are just Black but not Africans, isn't it? So yes. So if you're joining us, please make sure you share this stream. And like you see, the Queen sitting here in the studio, very beautiful, incredible sister that I get to connect with. And it gives me a warm pleasure to welcome her today on the Pan-African Daily TV for the first time. Now, what are we going to be talking about and how did I meet this queen? Just for you to understand a little bit what we're going to be focusing on, what her story is going to be about, and what is the achievement that we want to achieve with these conversations. Joshua Maponga introduced Queen Grace to me and said, reach out to your sister in the Netherlands. And she gave me her contact and I called and I reached out to her. And the first thing I heard, she burst out and she started crying. She cried until, and we were up really close in the night times here. And she was like, sister, why are you up at this time? Are you also having insomnia like me? And I like, oh, I just happened to use the restroom and I came and I checked my phone and you were on. Yes, so that's the coincidence. At what time we met was very important. 4 a.m. in the morning, you know. So what can someone be doing up at that time if he's at peace, or if he's not going to work, if there is something, you know, but why should you be up at that time? So we are not only connecting because of our space, but even the time makes it very unique at what time we meet with one another. So I met Queen Grace. And she burst out and she cried a lot. And she apologized and said, sister, I cry a lot. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I enjoy. I cry over everything. But right now I'm grieving. And so I'm just crying. And I listened and it was really deep. It was long. And you could remember, you could understand that there was just something there. Anyways, cutting it very short, fast forward, we met again and then we shared this wonderful experience. And I got to discover the kind of person this queen is. What she's been through, the power, the energy, what she's tried to put on in the Netherlands to bring Africans together, her fight for a united Africa. And the first question she told me, we have to put on human rights lawyers of African descendants. And we, you know, the steps were so incredible. And I was sitting up the whole time. I could listen to her. And last night, she called me like, I want to be a volunteer on the Pan-African Daily TV project of making this media the biggest thing. I said, why? I said, because this is where I found my joy, my peace, my connection. When I listen to Dr. Akran, I listen to everybody on this show, I just feel home, something that I've never had this kind of feeling for a long time. So I am so humbled to get this kind of stories on the Pan-African Daily TV. And just for you to understand why Queen Grace is here, we're going to usher her and let's get the conversation going. I hope I've been able to introduce and warm up the platform and give you time to connect before we start the show without anybody missing any part of this wonderful sister and her work and her amazing smile, her beauty, her everything. Yeah. So my Queen Grace, how are you doing today?
Much better than I've ever felt for quite a while. One, I got there was a tooth that had been giving me problems for like more than 2 years, but the last weeks were unbearable. So yesterday I had an emergency small time surgery and it's out. And I'm back to smiling again. I feel whole. Passé.
That is the Grace I know. But it's so interesting. Only yesterday you took out your tooth and you're sitting here in the Pan-African Daily TV and talking and smiling. What is it? Tell us.
I was actually smiling, but maybe I was high on that whatever narcotics they gave me yesterday. Because they gave me a double dose. They gave me a double dose.
Okay, a double dose. All right. Anyway, Queen, we are here tonight because we want to share your wonderful story, your experience in the Netherlands, what you've been doing out there, your fight for a united Africa, to unite your people together, to connect with them, and to share your incredible experience out there. So where do you come from? What took you out of your continent? What have you been doing in the Netherlands for all how many years now? What has been your experience? What is it that you made you said, oh, Africans in Europe don't have a place to run to in times of need? Over to you.
I'm laughing at that question of like what brought me here. And normally you can just you just have normally two answers. If you're not a student, you either came as somebody's partner or you are a refugee. But never mind that. Anywho, well, I met my ex-man in Kenya. We dated for some years. He happened to be Dutch. You know what love does. And the next thing, I had no intention of ever living outside of the African continent. In fact, my game plan was to randa between, you know, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. And anyway, I happened to come. Whoa. That was a culture shock. But before I came, I'd come to visit. You know, I'm not just one of those girls that, you know, I grew up in Nairobi, been there, done that, seen all the drama that. So I was not naive, and I'd made a trip to Europe. You know, travel to see could I deal with because I knew of the racial whatever, but it's different when you're home base. Even if you see it all the time, it's different on your home base. Could I deal with it? Secondly, my biggest issue was not even, I thought because it's a civilized part of the world, that even if you're racist, you know, you can pull probably a Scandinavian move, you know, be polite and civil and, you know, kind of like mind your own business and hate me from a distance kind of thing. Oh, boy, was I wrong. Secondly, another thing that made me come is, you know, when the weather affects most of us a lot. And I'm one person who's never been able to deal with the cold. But I thought to myself, well, you can't have everything. You have to make sacrifices. First of all, you have to start from square one. So, you know, I was not naive in my expectation. You know, I knew I had to start from somewhere. I have to adjust to a lot of things. But, you know, I've always said with the right support, you can overcome a lot. So here you are in love, nothing to worry about. And it didn't even take 1 week when the abuse began. And like I will say it, and I will say it even when I'm hearing a new word, that when I transcend to the other wherever side, people have to stop asking victims, abuse victims or victims who are, especially domestic violence, stop asking women or men, why don't they walk away? First of all, you don't recognize you're being abused. And especially with people like the Dutch, these are masters. They have done it for centuries. I'm not the first, neither the last. We are millions. You just don't hear it because maybe the person is, a lot of the people, they are broken, if not dead or dying or institutionalized, dragged out of their heads. They are masters. Anyway, and things just kept on getting worse. One of the reasons why I even came to know about Pan-African TV, and especially Dr. Susan Tata, I remember the first time I watched her, there is one special mama that I came across in my search, because I have been searching for an African platform with like-minded people. You know, I don't want just to talk. We're just there talking and chatting. I don't do chatting. You know, I came here as an old woman. That one, leave it to the 18-year-olds and 22-year-olds. I don't know what people are always doing on their phones. But anyway, I have been looking, I've been searching since 2005, 2006 for something similar. You know, even if you don't have a solution for me, I can reach out without being judged and talking to a fellow African, where I don't have to explain myself or validate myself or excuse myself. I am just me. And in the Netherlands, you have nowhere to go if you're willing to have a sort of life, and you're still fighting for, you know, some sort of not even some existence without being made kaput, because that is their it has always been their mission. They like to destroy it, and God forbid when they cannot put you into a box. Like personally, they have come at me mentally, emotionally, and everything. And most of the time, a lot of people break, so you end up either committing crimes or getting involved in succumbing to drugs, alcohol, prostitution, and that is their main goal. And I've been hearing a lot of people on these platforms and other platforms talking about the mind. That's why anybody who is a predator and anybody who wants to destroy anybody, I tell people, I don't even understand why in Africa you're still killing people. Go for the mind. Once you capture the mind and destroy the mind, you're good to go. And that is the Dutch system. That's how they can control them. They are masters of manipulating and controlling and destroying the mind. And that's not just for foreigners. They don't know the difference because they've been in this situation. So for them, it's very normal. That's normal. It's normal. That's what they keep on telling you. It's normal. But for you, you're like, you have normalized the abnormal. So this kind of thing, the frustrations of, and I have almost reached out to every organization, including the ministry, the governments, as far as going to Brussels with my situations. But you know, same people, why would they want to help you? And in fact, they are usually too busy covering up and lying. That is the Dutch system. I have whatever it is that you accuse us of, because they like to demonize all of us and criminalize all of us. Why don't you take us to those international courts you like rushing Africans there? Yeah, after all, don't tell me one of the last conversations I had with somebody in Brussels in the Human Rights Office, she told me, but you know what, madam, you might take somebody to court, but you might lose, and that might cost you a lot of money. And I was thinking to myself, you've been plundering Africa. Surely you can't afford for this one woman lawyers. But the problem is, I have tried to research and I have not found any organization first with an African or descendants of Africans, like lawyers. How can you represent me if you don't know what I'm about? Being a lawyer here, people think that, you know, the Dutch system and the laws, the way they are portrayed to the world, people think people are in paradise. It is one of the most deceptive systems on the planet. First of all, there's nothing friendly. They are the most unfriendly people on the planet. In fact, when I hear them voted as amongst the friendly people on the planet, I wonder how unfriendly and how unhappy the world is. These are not friendly people. They are not. Everybody hates everybody in the Netherlands. Everybody. You come here loving people, you start hating everybody. Even a cat, it just crosses your path, you hate it for no particular reason. Because there's hate in the air, you inhale it. Yeah, there's nothing. The system is so deceptive, nothing is ever straightforward. It's always a run around and everybody denies everything, everybody lies about everything. And all this, the victim is always to blame. And here it goes, the racial here is in every way you can imagine, whether it is race or color or your place of origin or your religion. Like they've been having scandals, which for me, it's not that they have been, it's suddenly it has burst into the international. One thing these people are good of is cover-ups. They are so good at cover. I wish Africans, we can cover up our negative parts, like an iota of these people. Maybe we would at least can walk around with our heads held high. No, as we're an open book, as the brother was saying yesterday, we invite these people into our bedrooms. But bottom line, being here for me is normally I just like being on the background because I got tired of reaching and it's very painful and exhausting to always try and reach out to people and explain. And people are there judging you, asking your fellow Africans. Those are the most painful. The Dutch don't hurt me no more. Nah. Their opinions, the way they think of us, because it's centuries. It is them. They're gonna be. But when your own brothers and sisters want to pretend what is happening is not, and even add on to the abuse and the pain and suffering, that I can never understand. I cannot. And I truly believe if I cannot be, and if I can't add value to your life, then I might as well not be in your life. We are already carrying such major crosses. Just being the moment I tell people, the moment you're born an African, you're conceived as an African, and especially an African woman, the battle begins. It is handed to us upon birth. You're fighting everybody on the planet, including our fellow men. So the least that's another thing. The least our fellow men can do is stand up for us. Stand up for us. Don't allow your sisters and your children to be abused, not in motherland, not anywhere abroad. Stand up. Those laws they have been using to rush our people to courts and human rights laws, and you can the irony of it all. Can you see which countries these courts, these international courts are placed? Of all countries, in the Netherlands and Belgium. That is just it's I don't even know is to call it contempt of mockery, or I don't know. And I've always said, and I will continue saying, no Africa has any business going to any of these courts. If they cannot take the Dutch for human rights violations, nobody should go. I don't know what Africa is still doing in these memberships. And I don't know what the fee is, but I'm sure it's not for free. It's not for us. Those laws are not applicable to us. It's applicable to them and when they're serving their own agendas. Because if, really speaking, if you see what goes on in the Netherlands, and the funny thing is, the Dutch don't hide. They don't, it's open. Yet people are gonna sit here, especially, you know, the people who have become more Dutch than the Dutch themselves. When as a black person of African descent, maybe you can be black and you're, I don't know, something, you know, DNA, something. Maybe you can even be white and you turned out black because of some, you know, that biologic, genetic, I don't know, whatever it is. But as an African descendant on an African, to say, as an adult, you have never experienced racism in the Netherlands, which is a systematic racial country, I don't understand what you're talking about. This particular scandals that have come out, it came out with a child welfare scandal where they picked on people as per their race of their country of origins. And even worse, now we have been, I don't know whether it's just those particular group, maybe because they are one of their black people, you know, the Surinams, the Crusoes, the ones they enslaved and colonized and whatever they did to them. Or it's all of us. I have seen we have been upgraded by the system officially. They wrote darkies. They actually wrote next to the names darkies. From monkeys now we are darkies. That's an upgrade. We've been upgraded. But imagine, who are you going? Ah, boy, sorry. Who are you going?
Okay.
Who are you going to can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. I hear you. Go ahead.
Sorry. This guy, I told him, don't call me.
You.
Yeah. And the most frustrating thing is, there is nowhere to run in the Netherlands, not the police. Those ones have almost been raped by a police boss where I stay. And that didn't matter. They almost broke my finger. I have a almost twisted finger. Police. You landlords, the neighbor, they will use anything when they come for you. Another thing, people have to be very careful. You know, I can understand if you have never experienced some of the things some of us have experienced, whether it's at home, abroad, or wherever, because you can experience some of these things also in motherland, is if you notice these people ask a lot of questions. Those questions, they're collecting your information, they're collecting data, they're analyzing you, and that's how they manage to come after us the way they do. And even once in the Netherlands, they will share, and they do share information. That's how this scandal came out. They share our information. Even as late as now, they are sharing results of COVID-19 tests from hospitals. They are sharing information. That's why you realize it took me a while to realize what was going on. And the reason why I probably started catching on is because there was a sister here from Kenya who's been here like 150 years. And she introduced me to what they call the city boys and the city crowd, so that I am safe in the city. You know, I don't get attacked in the city. And that's when I started listening, and when the people are talking and everything. They share your information. So let's say today I ran to the police station, and then the police station pretend that they were helping me and send me to some sort of organization which is supposed to be, I don't know, dealing all these social organizations in the Netherlands. Then they will collect and waste their time. After all, it doesn't matter whether they're not. Let's put it this way: the Netherlands or the Dutch society has never been there to solve any issues, or to maintain humanity, or to, I don't know what they're not part of a solution. Never have been, never will be. They will always be part of a problem and distractions. I don't care in what concept they come in. Missionaries, the system, the government, they are representative of these, I don't know, volunteers, tourists, I don't know, whatever it is. Never, ever. The only way you can meet somebody in the Netherlands who is close to being human being is somebody who is aware of their weaknesses and that diabolical part of them. Then they are trying. You know, it's like the way you know you have a weakness. You know, so you try to work on that weakness. Yeah. That is the only way. In general, don't trust nobody here, not children. That's why they're always asking questions. It's a country of predators. So by the time you come here, I'm asking you questions. It's because I'm trying to weigh how much do you know, how new are you here, and whatever mission I am on. Yeah. And somebody has to stop these people from thinking that African women, not only are we objects, but we are sexual objects. Someone has to stop that nonsense. Because I have gotten harmed physically many a times for rejecting these men, if you can call them men, because I've always told them, abusing women, children, and animals does not make you a man. So that's an insult to any man out there. It has to stop. And I needed, and I know many people need, a place where they can reach out and talk safely. That is one of the fears people have. That's why also, even if people can talk, they are scared. Who are you running to? The same person who will turn around and victimize you, cause you more harm and more pain? So people prefer just to keep quiet. There's nowhere to go. Nowhere. I don't care whether you call it International Human Rights, this, Amnesty International. First of all, the irony of it is hearing in the Netherlands people saying Black Lives Matter. In the Netherlands, amongst the Dutch and the Dutch, Black lives have never mattered. Neither will they ever matter. So even there, you can't run there. Those are just government stooges. And people, you know, idlers. You know, these are countries of junkies and people who have a lot of nothing to do, you know, get high the whole day. So, you know, go get their coffee, maybe free weed, and make a bit of noise, and then the world will see that we care about, you know, we're together here with the world in Black Lives Matter. But I would not be caught in such whatever. First of all, I'm too old to go running in the streets. I did my part at my age, you know, but there's nowhere to run. And that is the freaky part. And the more every day you live in so much fear, I don't even know how to explain it. Year after year, every day you are in fear. You're in fear, and you're always asking yourself, what are they planning for you next? Because the Dutch don't tire. Let me say like Oga, they don't tire until you're dead. They don't tire. They will always come up with something. If For me, when I hear people saying they are more diabolical people than this one, I almost, before I came across Her Excellency Dr. Arikana, I'd almost given up. I'd reached a stage when, before Mom got very sick and she passed, I used to tell her, Mom, I don't think there's any hope for us in this world. I don't think so. It's a mess. There's nowhere to run. People are challenged in our countries. We're busy welcoming and rolling red carpets. We don't even check who goes in through our embassies. I mean, I went to Kenya after 12 years and I still saw them doing what I left them doing openly while people are looking there. And I was like, can't handle this one. So for me, I was so grateful. And I kind of like, what do you call it? If Dr. Arikana knew of me, I was shadowing her. You know, I can't even remember when I actually came across her, and she was speaking somewhere, I think in the US or something, and I just looked and I was thinking, whoa, the passion, she's articulate and she's making sense, and she looks like she cares. And I didn't really search for her, but you know, when you start to Google things and come across things, you know, they start falling, you know, as they say, they watch what we're whatever. So that's how I came. But when she sealed the deal for me, it was not a speech she made. It was the letter she wrote to the Chinese president when because of that mistreatment of Africans in China, and especially considering the reaction of our fellow Kenyans and our Kenyan government. I just thought, I'm in love with this woman. I'm following her. And that's how I came across Pan-African television, people like Joshua Mapanga. I mean, like I was lost. I was stumbling in the darkness. And finally, there was, I was home. I was home. I didn't care whether I was on the background or whatever. But finally, I was like, people who look like me, people who are talking my language, people who are making sense, people who care, and people who have a mission. They're not just talking for the sake of talking. So there is hope. And I knew amongst there, and that's another thing, just because you watch one or two people who are not of your interest, well, move on, wait for the next show or look for a show, because there's something for every one of us in that. In fact, for me, it's in almost in every show I have watched. There's a lot to learn, and just giving somebody the sense of hope. Because if you have never been in that place where you have a sense of hopelessness and helplessness, is a bad. And with helplessness, you're just the living dead. So for me, and Mom always told me, you know, things will fall in place at their own right time. Don't rush it. And I always kept on saying, for how long? You know, I always used to tell my mom and my aunties, I'm not Nelson Mandela. For how long am I going to go through this? You know, and nobody is coming to my rescue. People just listen like, okay, you know, another story I can use when I'm having dinner or I'm getting drunk or whatever it is that people do with people's misfortunes. But I'm glad. It was never my intention to be anywhere, you know, on camera talking to many people. Anyone who knows me, you know, all those people, wherever in the world you know me, you know, I'm very good in small crowds, you know, the people that I know. That's when I can talk from morning till evening and everything. But telling me to stand up and talk to a whole crowd, and especially of strangers, I'm like, oh no, I don't think so. So, Sister Susan, Dr. Susan, Sister Susan, Queen Susan, it is a pleasure. And I really want all this to work, not just for me or for you, because we need it. We need it. And some of us might not even know it, but trust me, we need it. And there's one word everybody keeps on using, a couple of words, but one: unity. Unity. This is not the time to hurt me because I don't want Susan to succeed because she might benefit too much and I'm not benefiting. This is not time for that kind of thinking. That's what eliminate it from your head. I've always said we didn't have a problem like these fundraisings. I don't know whether people still do it in Africa. When someone is getting married or there's a harambe, you're giving your 1 shilling here, your 5 cents here, your 10 shillings here. Do you expect to be part of that funeral or to be part of that wedding when you're giving? So why can't I give this platform 50 cents and it is benefiting me? Because in there, even if it's not Sister Susan, I can reach out to a brother, I can reach out to a sister. We keep on who I want to know if someone has another plan B, because I'll try it also. If there's a plan B out there, we'll check it out. But I know I called CNN once. I kind of like mentioned that story to Sister. So I'd even forgotten because I've been so stressed. So you have to suppress a lot of emotion because it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's not positive. It's all negative. I was some years ago, there was a Nigerian ship that was taken by pirates somewhere between the waters of Kenya and Somalia. And these people had reached out. And the guy, there was a Nigerian brother who used to live here. Actually, where I was living with my ex-man, they were living across with his wife, but we never met them. Me, I just used to see him. Everybody kind of like minds their business here. So it was years later we met when I started interacting with the Africans, you know, and so we became friends, you know. He would reach out to me. He was the only brother I remember who used to worry about me, think about me, wonder does my sister have anything to. That man never sat in my house or in my room at any one time. He would come and deliver groceries or whatever he's delivering, food, and he's gone. So when he reached out to me and told me, Grace, our brothers are in trouble. By your brothers there in that your Kenya. Do you know anyone in Kenya? You can whatever. So I tried to reach out to my people in Kenya and everybody, and I was being taken round and round because obviously you could hear there was no money in it, and who is gonna pay for black people who've been kidnapped by pirates? Anyway, the intelligent me I told him, don't worry, you just sit here. Now we're 3 of us. There's a Dutch guy, there's me, and there's this brother. So I called CNN. And I got through and I said, please, there's an issue. And I gave them the name. It was, in fact, the name of the ship was called something like Amazing Grace, which was ironic. It was called something like Amazing Grace and whatever. The person who listened to my story told me, and I'd already spoken to these pirates. And by the way, because one of the reasons he reached out to me, because he thought maybe they might know Swahili. Oh, no. These guys just knew Jambo, Hapana, and kept on changing their phones and speaking in Somalian or whatever language was, but they didn't know any English, they didn't know any Swahili. So what CNN told me was something to the effect of, oh, we have other bigger stories. And I hope everyone is listening to what CNN said to me. We have bigger stories, meaning those lives of those people under them who are the mercy of the pirates, because they knew they were all Africans. Maybe there was an Indian or something, but they were all Africans. Have you ever had anybody paying money for African lives? That's exactly what they told me, and I thanked them. You have had how much our value. That's one of the reasons that was making scared. Eventually, they didn't kill them, but they I think 1 or 2 died because of starvation or something. But I tried. But just to have it on your face, your lives don't matter. And I don't know what it will take the Africans to understand. Nobody cares about us. Unless we start saying, they don't care. You can marry them, you can bath with them, you can have a football team, children with them. At the end of the day, you come second, if you're lucky. If you're lucky. Me, I've never deceived myself. For me, what is important is at least can we get along, and you mind your business and I mind my business. But nobody cares. And this thing, Africa, we're always saying reach out to the international human rights. They don't care. If you're not reading our stories there, what makes you think they're reading about whoever is slaughtering you there, that in motherland? So for me, this platform means a lot, more than I can ever explain. I don't even have words to say what this platform means to me. And Her Excellency Dr. Arikana. I can't most pronounce the other names. That's why I just stopped there.
Sister, I missed just one. I think we need to refresh a little bit because your screen has been freezing for a couple of times. I didn't want to touch that. So let us just take the break and we refresh for her. Because there's just a lot in what she is saying, and you and I, we know it. There are just millions of us out there that cannot talk and that
Too
are
many.
going through.
Too many.
Yes, just
by all sorts of barriers.
yes. So let us do the refresh quickly after a short break so that we can get her back on it for the break video and then you refresh so we can get her off this freezing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just freezing.
You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr.
wait.
Susan Tata. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home.
Yeah, so let's just do the refresh and we bring our sister back in because the stream has been freezing, and you know when she start calling these names, the Dutch or something, we just pray that they don't kick us out. But yes, the conversation is real. It is serious. It is about high time. It is, whether we like it or not. That's the truth. A lot of us are just not coming out to speak about all these marginalizations, all this abuse, all this systematic racism. A lot of Africans are just dying in homes alone, which is not typical African. Most of them have just gotten into them and just stay quiet. They grieve alone. They don't go out alone. They don't mingle. They don't talk to each other because these systems actually have made us that way. They put us against each other. And so even us in the diaspora, we behave so strange to one another. It's very easy to meet an African on the street that doesn't even want to identify with you, particularly the sellouts, particularly they we call them the first class slaves. You know, now they want to become more than this. It is a problem, whether they do it consciously or not. But the conscious one, you see them, you see your brothers, you see your fellow Africans just draining away, and you can't even help. It pains, it hurts. It hurts so bad that despite the unity and whatever we want to build, we're still losing a lot of us into these systems. That's why it's very relevant. And I'm thankful to this sister. I hope she'll be able to connect. And she's trying to join us, that we really connect with one another. So let's just refresh a little bit and get her back on the show, please. 1 second. Yeah. So we should be getting her in. We should be getting her in anytime from now. But like I said, it is serious. It is real. It is real. So it is not only about us building the continent without building us as a people first. We need to start by checking around us. Look in your communities, in your neighbors. Look out for them. Your brothers that are just somewhere locked in. If you haven't seen them for long, check on them. 1 minute. Let me click and join, please. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a pity. I hope we get her. Hello. Oh my God. Yeah. Hold on 1 second, please. Let me try and reach out to her. Let's find out her position. Hello, my queen. Are you okay? Hello, Grace.
I go back. Yeah.
Yes, just click back on the link and join us. We did a refresh. You should be able to log in now safely, okay?
Okay.
Yes.
No problem, no problem. I have seen how it works.
All right, I'm
Know what's
waiting.
happening.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so we have to look out for one of us. And that's why platforms like the Pan-African Daily TV and many others there, reach out, please. It's not like we look for guests, particularly on the Pan-African Daily TV. Don't be left alone. Don't stay in with your pain. Don't stay with your issues. It is time that we come out of all this closet, that we expose all these things. If we don't talk about them, we cannot get rid of them. If we are shy and we begin to hide from all these crimes, from all these feelings, we hide away from them. We live in denial of the system. No matter what they do, we keep always promoting it. We're not going to be free. We have to come out. We have to speak. Those of you that are watching Grace, hello. Hey, Grace.
Hello.
Over to
Hi,
you.
I'm
Yeah.
back. Like a bad dream for them, not for us.
Thank you. Go ahead, my queen. Yes.
Yeah, I heard you just saying that, they use intimidation, threats. I mean, I have lived the only time I think I ever had fear, like the way not even an iota of what is anytime we had elections, because, in our country, I don't know what happens to Kenyans when there's elections. But I mean, that was a tidally for a short time, and then everybody goes to their peaceful survival mode and everything. But these people make sure you live in fear. That is one of their tools and weapons they use in the Netherlands. And I will say it, and I've always told them, if I'm lying, what I've been telling the world, why don't you ever take me to court? Why do you find different ways of destroying me? You have taken away my life, you have wasted 15 years of my life. You have destroyed my health. You have kept me away from my loved ones. Yeah. You have taken so much from me. Why? I will talk. It's my story, and I will tell it. And I will tell it as I deem it to be. They're not gonna be telling my story. And I told them, okay, there's always two sides of the story. You tell your version. You've been telling your version. And I always tell them, why don't you take me to that international court? Why do you take me to kangaroo courts here? These are kangaroo courts. Don't have time for kangaroo courts. Yes, intimidation, fear, drugs. That drugs we hear when black people come here, or Africans or black Americans say, yeah, I was in Amsterdam, I was in red light district. First of all, I always wonder, which normal person in the right state of mind goes to sleep with another prostitute, a foreign prostitute, who is on the windows in another country? Who does that? And then you're coming to smoke and be rowdy, weed that, for me, what I know of weed is mostly when people smoke weed, they are relaxed. In the Netherlands, they are very aggressive. And that's why you say, like, coffee shops, they never closed even during when the height of Corona, because the country will go crazy. And it's a very aggressive society. So let's say if you're lucky, you have never experienced abuse, you have never experienced racism, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. There is hope for us then. But don't go around dismissing people's experiencing it and undermining it. And it's not a competition who is hurting more than who. Because the ones that have really hurt right now, they can't talk. And it's too late for them. And trust me, a lot are not even 6 foot under. They are ashes. If I die now, trust me, within 1 hour, I'll probably be ashes. And nobody will ever know what happened. So stop dismissing. I have watched what they have done. Even during my suffering, I told them, you know, whatever it is you put me through, I will rant and rave, scream, shout, and believe you. I've done it all. I've begged, I've pleaded, I've done everything. But as long as my brain is working, my eyes are working, and my mouth is working, I'm going to use it. My story and where I came from. Fortunately for me, I came from a big family and I knew a lot of people. So whether they are listening or not, I can't be talking all these years and there's not one person or two people who had. And look what the Almighty, the Maker, blew my way. Her Excellency, and then Dr. Susan Tata, with all her African family. I inherited Africans from everywhere in the world, everywhere. One time, Tata, you can't stop the reggae. Can't stop reggae. Can't stop it. Nobody can stop nobody's destiny. You can sit there talking, ranting, raving, bitching, hating from morning till evening. Dead or alive, people will achieve what they were meant to do in life. How many people do we mention on this show who are long gone, who opened the path for us? Why? You know what pains me, especially when I look around Kenya, when I look at a country like Kenya, because I always say I can only speak about two countries where I would not have a problem standing in any international court, because I have lived in these two countries. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. I do know the society. When you think of the people who fought, the freedom fighters, what were they fighting for? What? Here talking languages through our noses. You wonder whether we all have sinuses. It's wrong in so many ways. And at least, as they say, if you're not part of the solution, don't be part of the problem. Let your sister, if you don't like your sister and your brother or your sister, let them be. I just love listening to this Dr. Her Excellency. There's something she said. We don't even have to like each other. We don't have to love each other. We don't have to sing Kumbaya. But do we have the same goals? Yes, we do. I can't imagine for what reason a black person, an African or an African descendant, you would not to see your fellow Africans succeeding. Why not? Because you're in a bad place in life, or because you're not